Good morning. Happy Monday. This week we are going to be reviewing time. Before we left, we did a unit on telling time to the hour and the half hour. So before we get into looking at blank clocks and drawing some hands on them, I want to take a look at this yellow clock here. This is the same yellow clock that I would use in the classroom when we were working on time. So I want to review the different parts of the clock and how we tell time on the clock. So first we'll see here we have a short red hand here. This is the hour hand. So when we are telling a time like 3:00, the first number is the hour. Here the short red hand is pointing to the 3, and that tells me the hour is 3. Here we have our long minute hand, which is blue. The minute hand tells us this second part of the time. How many minutes past the hour? So right now, since the hour hand is pointing to the 12, it is followed by 00. That is the beginning of the hour. And when we read this, we say 3:00. I also want to review that the red numbers here, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Those are our hours. When we're telling the hours, those are these big numbers here. But remember, when we are counting by minutes, when we are counting the minutes, the second part of the time here, that the longer hour hand is pointing to, the longer minute hand is pointing to, when we get to each of these bigger numbers, we're actually counting by fives. So when my minute hand here, the blue hand, is pointing at the 3, I'm not going to say 3:03, I would say 3:15. Okay, when the minute hand is down on the 6, we say 3:30 or 30 here at the minute area of our time. When it's on the 9, we say 45, and then when it's back on the 12, we say o'clock. So we're going to take a minute here, and I'm going to write a time on our clock here. The time I'm going to make is 4:00. So the first thing I'm going to do is my hour. I'm going to make a short hand pointing right at the 4. And I'm a little off from my dot here because of my stylus, but you can see I'm pointing at the 4. And I want you to have the ends of the arrow on your minute and hour hand as you make those. If I ask you to draw any times. This week, most of what we're going to be doing is digital, so I won't be asking you to draw any of those times. Because it is o'clock, my minute hand here is going to be pointing up to the 12. 4:00. On this clock here, I'm going to make the time 8:30. So the first thing I'm going to do is start here in the middle, and I'm going to make my short hour hand pointing at the 8, because if I look at my time, 8 is in the hour spot. Because my minutes say 30, I'm going to count around my clock until I get to 30. So here we go. We start at the 12, and we're going to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And I will make my minute hand, and that's the longer hand, come down to the 6 to make 8:30. On this last clock, I'm going to make the time 11:00, and then I will make 11:30. Remember, if something ends in 30, it is halfway through the hour. And so sometimes when we say that, we will say half past or to the half hour. So when I make 11:00, I'm going to start here in the middle, and I'm going to point my short hour hand at the 11. When I'm making 11:00, my minute hand will go straight up to the 12, and my minute hand is going to be visually longer than my hour hand, so I can tell which one is the hour and which one is the minute. Now I'm going to make 11:30. So I'm going to keep my hour hand pointing at the 11, and I'm going to count around until I get half past 11. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So I will make my minute hand pointing straight down at the 6, and it's longer than my hour hand. Now here I went a little bit long. It doesn't have to go all the way down to the 6, but you should be able to tell a difference between your hour hand and your minute hand. So today's work on IXL is going to be telling time to the hour and the half hour. On Seesaw, you also are going to have 2 graphing activities to do. Make sure you let me know if you have any questions.